60 years ago, hundreds of peaceful voting rights marchers were met by a mob while crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. Today, hundreds of children made that very same march in honor of those who walked into the face of danger to fight for their right to vote. WENY's Renata Stiehl joins us live from Selma, Alabama with a look at today's anniversary event. Renata?
Good evening, Nick. Yeah, today was really all about the kids commemorating that exact date, March 7th, 1965, 60 years later, making sure that the youngest generation understands the significance of what happened here in Selma.
Everybody, welcome to the 60th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. Welcome to Selma, Alabama. 1965. There were 525 of our people who were marching across the bridge for their right to vote. Unfortunately, they were ambushed. They were ambushed by state troopers. They were beaten, tear gassed, and left for dead.
It's a day of remembrance in Selma, Alabama. It was March 7th, 1965, when hundreds of voting rights marchers walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, knowing that violence awaited them on the other side. On March 7th, 2025, hundreds more marchers walked across the bridge, many of them children, celebrating the brave men and women who came 60 years before them.
I'm gonna be thinking about how they felt in the moment. What was their emotions and feelings? Was they scared when they was walking across? Did they feel any type of timid at all?
For those who lived through the era of segregation in the South and witnessed the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s, the memories haven't faded.
I was raised in Birmingham, Alabama, graduated from high school in 1962 when everything was still segregated. The dogs were in the streets, the water hoses, and I think I have just felt guilty and remorseful about how awful things were at that time ever since.
Cheryl came to Selma with her two friends to honor those who put their lives on the line for change, saying America can't afford to forget.
You can't forget these things. I think it's so important that we remember the history that this country has gone through, and we just can't let that be erased.
And that woman, Cheryl, that you just heard from, she talked about how she makes sure that her grandchildren understand the seriousness of not just what happened here in Selma, but the impact of Jim Crow laws across the South, racial segregation and discrimination, and how there are components of that still linger today. Now, today is the actual anniversary of Bloody Sunday here in Selma, but the big event of the weekend is happening on Sunday. That is the historic reenactment of the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. In years past, there have been dignitaries, sitting presidents, past presidents who have come to this event, and they will make that march alongside the surviving foot soldiers who are here in Selma. Our Building Bridges Together coverage in partnership with the Elmira Recording NAACP continues throughout the weekend, but for now, reporting live in Selma, Alabama, Renata Stiehl, WENY News.